Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 303. In this episode, you are going to hear from La'Quita Monley. La'Quita is an independent certified coach, teacher, trainer, and speaker with the John Maxwell Team. By using transformation initiatives such as empowerment tools, La'Quita Monley she passionately equips individuals, organizers, and ministries to unlock their full potential and to live out their mission in their most authentic way. So in this episode, you're going to hear from La'Quita, and we talk about so many good things, like being a mom, traveling abroad and taking your family abroad, and then also being a military spouse. And La'Quita, I'm just going to say, she is on fire. I definitely want to have her back on this podcast because she has so much good things to say. And she's really a great storyteller, very engaging. So I loved having her on the show. Definitely want to have her back on. Before we get to the episode, there's something that's weighing on my heart a little bit. So recently, I went to an event, and it was in Texas, and it's called the Growth Day event, and it was amazeballs. Yeah, I said amazeballs. But it was so good. I loved it. And there was speakers, different people that were on the show or on the stage, right? And they gave their speeches, but that was powerful, but it wasn't the most powerful part. What was powerful is we had these breakout groups. And so they would ask questions, and Brendan Bouchard was one that was the main person leading it, or that hosted the event and had these guests come, but he would ask questions and then put us into breakout groups. This little introvert, that was hard, right? Telling my life story or telling like deeply personal things to other people. But you go to events to grow, right? So that's a big part of it, is to grow. And so we went into these breakout things, and it would happen like 2 or 3 times a day, where you'd go into these breakout groups and you'd really have to do a lot of self-reflection and self-work. Here's what I realized. We are all going through the same things. We are all facing the same struggles. One might be labeled as like a relationship problem. One might be money problem, a million different things, right? All these different issues. But underneath, it's like the same core issue. And it just amazed me how much we all are going through the same struggles, and how much people don't realize just what they're capable of or how badass they are. So it's weighing on me. Like, you are a freaking badass. You were put on this earth for a reason. You are supposed to be here. All of this pain, all of this struggle, all the hardships that you've gone through, freaking COVID, who everybody had to go through, right? All of these things have put you here today, and you are still here. You are still going. You are still breathing the air, right? And you are a badass. And like, you don't even recognize it. You don't even see yourself as a badass half the time. What? That's crazy. Because I know you're listening to the show. You are a badass. You have so much potential. All of these hard things, all of these things that you've went through, like, they don't disqualify you from being a badass. They qualify you. They say, okay, you've done it. You've been through the ringer. Who cares if you made a mistake here or there? You would not be where you are today if you hadn't have taken the steps that you took. We don't need to go back. We don't need to fix that. That's you. That's your badassery. Like, let that give you a little bit of swag. Even write a list of all the things that you have done, all the things you have overcome, all the hardships you faced, all the shitty things that came your way, and yet here you are. Here you are, breathing in the air, listening to this podcast, knowing that you're a badass. I really want that to like sit with you, is like just to resonate how much of a badass you are. And you deserve that title. And like, let's quit playing small. Let's own our badassery. I realized that sometimes I have a show, right? Ordinary to badass. And sometimes I still play small. It's like, what the heck? How am I calling myself a badass but I'm playing small? But you know what? It's okay. Take a step, just keep taking little tiny steps, right? And then heck, look at the podcast. 303 episodes in. That's freaking crazy. Never would I have thought. But you don't need to play small. You are surrounded by badasses because you are a part of this community. So you don't need to play small. You can go all out. And then sometimes badasses need a break. Sometimes badasses need to take a rest, and that's okay. That doesn't make you a badass because you stumbled, because you made a mistake, because you took a day off. You are still a badass. That doesn't take away your badass badge, right? You're still here. You're still doing it. So give yourself some grace. Okay, with that, let's get to the episode.
Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm so glad you're here. Today's guest is La'Quita Monley. La'Quita, thank you so much for being here. Excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's definitely my pleasure to be here, and I'm just excited about the conversation we're going to have today.
Yes, it's going to be fire.
Yes.
Before we go any further, I've got to ask you, do you consider yourself ordinary or badass?
Definitely a badass. Definitely a badass. Haven't always felt that way, but the person, having this conversation with you today, I definitely check that box.
So you said you haven't always felt that way. What was the changing point? Was it one specific incident? Was it a series of incidents? What got you to feeling like a badass?
A series of incidents, actually. And it started with a triggering moment that I had. I was probably about 25 years old. Had been married a number of years, had 5 children, and we were back at Fort Hood, Texas, and my husband was in Iraq, and there was a situation that happened and it was an innocent situation. Let me say that. The person that triggered me is 100% innocent. They had no idea. They meant no harm. It was just, it was time for me to have that wake-up call. Is pretty much what it was. I was outside of church. I was attending my mom's church, and I was outside on the way to the car, and one of her friends was trying to get my attention. And so she said, "Hey, Sister Kim's daughter, can you come here for a second?" That triggered me. And I would later, think that thing through. It's like, why did I? Because my response was horrible. It was really horrible to her. And I wanted to know, why did that happen? And after going through why that happened, I realized I didn't know who I was. I had absolutely no identity. It had been wrapped up in being a wife and a mom. And now that we were back to where my mother lived, back into being Kim's daughter, which is how I had always grown up. Oh, this is Kim's daughter. So working through that, I realized that, okay, there are so many amazing things about me above and beyond that. Not that any of that stuff is bad. That makes you a badass right there. If you're a wife, you're a mom, a grandmother, a daughter, that you were born, you were badass. So, and I had diminished those roles so much that it felt insignificant. So understanding who I am and what I was created to do helped to elevate my opinion of myself. It helped me to see myself through a totally different set of lenses. And from age 25 until now, I've just had some amazing people in my life and various incidents that have happened to help me to understand you know, you're a pretty unique individual. You're pretty awesome. So yeah, that's kind of where it started. And I'm far from 25 now, ladies. I'm far from 25 now.
So I have questions, but I think
Yeah.
I'd rather dig in first and let's hear a little bit about you. Will you share a little bit about yourself?
Okay, cool. The thing that I like to start out with when people ask me who I am, ironically, is first and foremost, before any of the titles and anything, I am a proud wife, Army wife, who I am a mother of 5 adult children. I'm a grandmother of 6 amazing little people. I'm also a minister of the gospel. Those are the things that really set the foundation and help me to become great in the realm of speaking, coaching, podcast host, and author. So the most important things to me in my life right now are my roles as wife, mom, and grandmother. Grandmother is the best.
Yes, because you can spoil them and then send them home to mom and dad.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's how I feel about being an aunt.
Yes, so much fun.
So let's talk about being an Army wife. What
Yeah.
has that experience been like for you being an Army wife, and has it been easy?
It has not been easy. It has been a roller coaster, but I would not change it for the world. I know that might sound weird, right? I started out as an Army wife at a very young age. My husband and I met when we were in high school. I was 15 and he was 17. And one day we made a decision that caused us to become teenage parents who would eventually go on to get married. And my husband decided, boyfriend at the time, husband now, decided to join the Army as his way to take care of our new, very young, developing family. Had no idea what I was getting into. None. I thought I did, but I didn't. I had an uncle in the Army, uncle in the Air Force, a couple of uncles in the Army, uncle in the Air Force. And we're thinking this is going to be one big adventure. And it was, but definitely some transitions, some not so good times. My husband has been deployed in multiple different conflicts from Kuwait, Afghanistan, Iraq, the Bosnia-Kosovo situation, some time in Turkey. And those of you that might not know the military lingo, spending time in the field simply means he's not home. He may be gone for a day, 2 days, 90 days, 60 days, and I don't get to see him until they come back. You know, he spent 24 plus years active duty Army. He's retired now, thankfully, praise God. But it was some challenging situations with the type of transition and constant change that the military brings. It can be very stressful on a family. It can be very stressful on a marriage, but there was some amazing. When it was bad, it was bad. But when it was good, it's good. And we just really learned to change the way we thought about it, approached it differently, and created one big adventure. Yeah.
So you said you learned to change what you thought about it. Can you expand on that? Because I think, there's probably a new couple that's newly married that's going through the same thing. So how could maybe they change their thought if they wanted to, or what did you do?
So leaving home as a young person, and no matter when you leave home, leaving home is difficult. So instead of me constantly, and I left home in the 90s, so there was no modern technology, and you couldn't get on the phone like that because it was super expensive to make those long distance phone calls. It didn't matter when you called, it cost you money. So we had to come up with different things to do with each other. Would I change that? Absolutely not. It could either do one or two things: pull us together or take us apart. We decided to let it pull us together. So was my mother-in-law gave me a piece of advice. She said, take this time to develop your family, your cultures, your traditions, the things that you and Ben want to do and create, because they were 550 miles from us. And so instead of constantly thinking about, oh, what's happening at home, oh, this is how we would normally do it. I mean, you can't control all of your thoughts, but you can control the direction that it allows your emotions to go. So we would sit together and and talk about, okay, these are the things that we would normally like to do. So how can we make it a tradition for this Monley house? And that's how we went throughout his career. The Army says we were going to be here 3.5 years. We were actually only going to be here 2. So now we're going to shift and move. And now I'm moving from, the deep South in Texas to the United Kingdom in England. Well, that's a move. So what could we do there? Instead of saying, oh my God, I'm even further from home. We just got settled. We just had friends. All of that's true. We can't change that. However, the other truth is, wow, I have never been to England. I have never been to Europe. The military is about to send me on a 3.5-year vacation. Where can we go? What can we do? Let's break out the map. And we really did. And that's how we would approach every time we got ready to move. And it helped our children in the transition as well. Now, am I saying that my children were never negatively impacted by the moves? No, they were. But we made them a part of it, gave them an opinion, let them see the map. You're in school. This is where we're going. This is what you're learning. Tell us where you want to go, anywhere around where we're about to move to, and mom and dad are going to make sure that we get to visit these places. We included them, and it helped them, but it also helped us to change our perspective as well.
I love that you included the kids, because that makes it a little bit more fun for them. Or even if they don't have a choice in the move, at least they have a choice in some of the stuff they're going to do when you move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. It makes a difference at the time. And we actually did move from Texas to the United Kingdom at one point in my husband's career. And it was at the time where cheetah girls were all the rage. So, those of you that know cheetah girls, if you don't know it, look it up. They were all the rage on Disney. And my daughter was absolutely in love with the cheetah girls. But she was also in middle school. She was in love with her new friends, and boys were just becoming cute, and all of these things going on with a 5th grader and a 6th grader. What do you do? So I thought about it. Hey, Denise, here's the map. And at that time, the latest Cheetah Girl movie was the one where they went to Barcelona, Spain. And I said, look, this is where England is. This is where Spain is. Guess where we can go on vacay? Let's go tour Barcelona and see if we can see some of the things that the Cheetah Girls went to see. So we must have watched that show 1,000,000 times to see if the places they were talking about were actually real in Barcelona. And she still was sad about leaving, but she was also excited because she was going to be the first girl in her friend group to go to Barcelona, where the Cheetah Girls were. And, I didn't tell her the Cheetah Girls weren't just not there. That wasn't necessary, but it made it easier. And we did the same thing with our boys as well. Here's some things you want to do. Let's make these things happen. Didn't make it perfect, but it did make it easier for them to digest.
Yes, I love that, because it's like what you focus on grows, right? Like if you're going to focus on the negative, and it's not always easy to focus on the positive, but if you focus on the negative, all the bad stuff, then it seems worse and worse. But if you focus on the positive, then it's, you're going to see more of the good things that are coming your way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, that's the truth. The hardest part of that transition was with our oldest son. He was a freshman in high school, and we absolutely devastated his world. He was leaving the love of his life, so he thought, but eventually those things would shift. They would change to where new friends were happening for them, new friends were happening for me, and even for the first time when they were studying things that were boring to them. It takes a special person to be in love with Shakespeare. When you're in middle school and high school, you're a unique individual. Well, they discovered a love for Shakespeare because since we were in England, the school would take field trips for history and for English lit and all of these things to the Globe Theater. So how cool is that? So now that just made something that was completely boring to them. They could not wait till they studied it in class so that they could go. It's like you said, it shifted their perspective. It made them change the way that they think about it. Both things were true. Shakespeare is boring to some young people, but also being able to stand in the Globe and watch a play by real Shakespearean actors. That's amazing. So it's changing your perspective, and we have the power to do that. As you said, if we focus on the negative, the negative will grow. Things may be going on that were definitely negative. I'm not saying pretend like that isn't happening. However, there's always, in the midst of every trial, in the midst of every opposition, there is always room for growth. There is always room for expansion. There is always an opportunity. Seize the opportunity and focus on that, and then begin to develop plans based on the opportunity that you have found in the midst of that opposition, in the midst of that trial, in the midst of, those negativities.
So traveling a lot, like having to pick up, move your family, what did you learn about yourself through that process?
I learned that I could be very resilient. I learned that I can be very, very resilient. I learned that there's a whole new level of multitasking when you have to do those things, because there's been some times where we had to move where my husband was not home. He was in a field problem. He was deployed. That the move to England came up while my husband was in Iraq. He was in his last tour to Iraq, and we got orders, which was basically, we have this letter from the Army that says you're moving from this place to this place, and you have to be in this place by a specific day, a specific time. And if you're not there, you're in trouble. That's basically what a set of orders says. So those orders came down while he was in Iraq. So that meant all of the things that require us to move, I needed to start doing them by myself in order for us to make that date. Now, my husband could have made that date without us. He had to be there by that day. We as the family could have got there whenever we got ready, but we had already been separated for about 14 months. So it's either be separated even longer or me get this together before he leaves. And so I had to, by this time, we've been in the Army a long time, so I knew what to do to get us together. And that's why I said, multitasking, resiliency. You would be amazed at the things that you are capable of doing when we simply put a different set of lenses on it. I could have been very angry. I could have been very depressed. I could have been very stressed out. Like, what do you mean? I've got to get an entire 4-bedroom house packed up. I've got to sell a car, decide which car we're going to take because we can only take one. So I need to sell these other vehicles. I've got to get the kids together and see just when the perfect time for them to transition so they don't lose credits, because we did have kids in high school, so that they don't lose credits. Communicate with someone who is 7 hours ahead of me. Figure that thing out to make all of these things work. And who's picking us up from the airport? Where are we going to stay when we get there? Because it's not like it's a house ready. So booking those reservations, I had a lot of reasons to be angry. But changing your perspective again, that change of your perspective really gives you a positive edge and positive motivation to simply get things done.
Have you always had this positive mindset or way at looking at things to find the positive part?
Not always. No, definitely not. It was something that actually this particular mindset, I adopted this mindset during my husband's first deployment. And this was after I had that triggering moment. After one, I sought therapy to discover that I had been in this severe state of depression. But simultaneously, not only did I seek therapy, I made a personal decision to return to my faith as a Christian. I had not been a Christian since I left home. I wasn't really a Christian when I was at home. I was just going to church because, my parents' house, so I have to do what my parents say. But at that point, I made a decision, okay, let me find out what this is all about for me. And with those things, it helped me to develop a different mindset. And one of the scriptures that really popped out of my head at that time concerning the way that I think was, and I'll paraphrase it. Basically, the scripture just tells us, we will have what we say. We will have what we say. And what I say depends on what I've been thinking. So I have a choice here. I can think on those things that are lovely, just, and of a good report. I can think on those things so that then when I'm talking about things that are lovely, just, and of a good report, and that will manifest in my life. Or I can continue to commentate the negativity and think about the negativity, and then the negativity will keep appearing. It just made sense. So like, wow, okay, this is a great place of change for me. And over the years, I'm not perfect. Over the years, I've just worked really hard at what I think is what I'll say. What I say is what I do, and what I do determines who I am. And I teach that concept to my clients. It's think, say, do. It's the process of change. It works, and it has worked. It has always worked. When people work that process, you see great things happening in their lives.
Have you seen that attitude like reflect in your children, like them start to take on some of the same things that you do with think, say, do, and being positive?
As adults, yes. As teenagers, they were just they were just teenagers, like your average teenager. Our parents are crazy. We know more than them. That was for then. This is for now,
Yeah.
I mean, I know I thought it. But as young adults now, raising children, definitely. My oldest son called me and my husband on FaceTime last night, and he said, you know what? For the first time, I really realized that God is real, and he really intervenes, and it really matters what you think and say, because there's a situation going on in his life that is really. Now, me and my husband, we're smiling and cracking up when we get off the phone with him, because we know it's going to go away. It's going to pass. But right now, he and his fiance are stressed, and it's so cute. and just watching them work through that. And it's like, okay, they're calling on those things that they thought they had ignored, they thought they dismissed, that they thought wasn't real and didn't matter. Now they're calling on those things again. And one of those things really is what we're talking about: the power of your meditation, the power of your mindset, the power of your speech, how it dictates and directs your life. And he couldn't make me prouder. Like, we were not expecting that phone call last night.
You're like, yes, job well done.
Yes, you get those little parent high fives. Like,
right. So, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, even like in terms of parenting, I know for me, it's like at the time, I thought my parents were the worst people in the world. And then when my children turned a certain age, I was calling with deep apologies, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for everything that I ever did to you. And so now we're getting those calls from them. And out of all of our children, 3 of our children have children, 2 of them don't. Our oldest one, he's like, I am so sorry. How did you do this? How did you do this? And his oldest is 6. It's like, oh, you're just getting started. Yeah. It's okay.
It's only the beginning.
It's only the beginning.
So, speaking of stress, because you talked about your son being stressed out, I imagine that having your husband being deployed in different places and you having 5 kids, that can be stressful. And then also just like anxiety, worry, because, they're in a different place. What did you do or did you try to do anything to combat that stress, anxiety, worry?
Well, definitely. Definitely. It is very, very, very stressful, because everything goes from being, when the service member goes into the field, they're playing war. Like, they actually call it war games. But now he's really, somebody's trying to kill him every day, all day. And when they do get the opportunities to call, you can hear it. Like, you can hear the rounds coming in. You can hear the bombs going off. It's crazy. So one of the things that we quickly learned to do, during his first time ever being deployed was we stopped watching the news. I would not watch the news. I would not allow my children to watch the news. And before we started homeschooling, I sent notes to make sure that watching the morning news was a part of how the school started their day. But if they were in the morning news talking about the conflict of deployment, then I didn't want my children watching that, because I did not want them to be stressed, because children can't always articulate their level of stress. So, and it comes out in different ways. I didn't want that for them. So we stopped watching the news. The other thing that I did was became much more active. For the Army, it's called the Family Readiness Group, FRG. I became much more active in the FRG that we were assigned to, so that I could have time to vent and talk to other people who were experiencing the same things that I was experiencing. They could help me, I could help them. And we were blessed to be connected to some great FRGs. And the third one was, I'll go back to, this is my new beginning, real relationship with Christ, happened at that time as well. And our pastors both were retired Army, and they had been through the Cold War, Desert Storm, and all of this. So it was great places to have those conversations, keeping people around us that understood the stresses and could speak positively to us when I couldn't find the energy within me. And even being able to take our children and spend some time with them so that I can have some time alone to decompress. Like, we were just really blessed in our church family at that time. You know, some of the men would come by, some of the ladies who I was friends with, they would come by, pick the kids up, or if I'm having a really hard day and they came by and even clean the house for me, cook for me, just like, because that first time it was so overwhelming. You just don't know what to do. And so after that, the other times that he's been deployed, it may sound strange, but it got easier because of the support that I had. And the support was there every time, but because of the initial support that I had and direction and encouragement and advice, I knew how to better handle it when he deployed to the other places throughout his career.
Yeah, and I love that you've done that. It seems like kind of over time you've sought support when you needed it. Like whether it was going to therapy or finding people at church, or I think there's something powerful in finding people who've been through what you've been through or what you're going through, and being able to get tips and help and advice from them so it doesn't feel so overwhelming or like such a heavy weight on your shoulders.
Absolutely. I didn't start out that way. So like, after I gave birth to our first son, I didn't experience postpartum depression. But after I gave birth to our second son, I did. I didn't recognize the postpartum. I knew what postpartum was. It was talked about throughout the course of my prenatal, but I didn't recognize it in me. My husband recognized it in me twice, after my son and after my daughter. And realizing, and so when he recognized it, he sought the help for us through what the Army calls a new parent support. He said, hey, this is what's going on. Come see my wife. And so through that support, through those 2 times that I suffered postpartum depression, it helped me realize that I need to learn what triggers me, number one. And it is 100% okay to get help. It's okay to not be okay, and get help quickly. And that's what he did. He saw that I needed the help. He sought after the help. And once they arrived, me being accepting of it and not rejecting, because just because you're getting help doesn't make you less than. It did not detract from my being a great mom. It was something that I had no control over. And understanding that, oh, absolutely, I'm 100% an advocate of seeking out your resources, being honest with yourself in the areas where you need strength, in the areas where you need support, and make sure you connect with the right people in order to get that, because we want to thrive at whatever we do. And we can't do it by ourselves. No man is an island. The term self-made angers me. No man is an island. We all have to have support. Like, we did not do this alone. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that you asked for help, that your husband was willing to just go and seek out help to help you find a way to go. And kind of like you said, like, asking for help is not weakness. I think
it's strength.
Yes, it's more badass. Like, it feels crappy sometimes, or it feels hard because women try to take everything on. But like, that's badassery, or that strength is seeking help when you need it.
When you need it, absolutely. It takes a great deal of strength to say, I need help, because the amount of clarity that you have, where your mindset is, that you've assessed this situation and you've come to that conclusion, that's an inner strength like no other. Because, I mean, honestly, asking for help is hard. It's not easy, right? It is. The older we get, the less we want to do that. It's like we become more and more a 2-year-old. I do it by myself. That's what my granddaughter says. I do it by myself.
So independent.
Right. And we do that, but the 2-year-old is learning to be independent and do things for themselves, and that's great. The 30-year-old, the 40-year-old, the 50-year-old, the 20-year-old, no, we're hurting ourselves now. It's okay to ask for help. The most successful people in the world do not do things for themselves. They bring on super smart people to help them achieve their goals, whether it's personal or professional. They bring on these super amazing people who are experts in their field, and they get them to help them reach their goals. We have to do the same thing, ladies. We have to.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up the 2-year-old, because so often we see kids and we tell them, like, we tell them things or give them advice, or we think like, oh, it's so funny, they think they don't need help, but then as adults we think, oh, we don't need help. But like, somebody else, like our parents or something, are probably looking at us laughing like, oh, so like, funny, they think they don't need help. Like,
we're gonna get like, because you do.
Right.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And I know, I was saying, me and my husband, we smile at our adult children it's like they have training wheels on adulting, and maybe one of them has taken one training wheel off right now, and to watch them adult, it's kind of funny. They're wobbly with it a little bit and they're getting better. And I agree with you. I know that I'm blessed that both of my parents are still alive. I know that they have my mom and dad crack up, and we're blessed also that my grandparents are still alive, and they crack up at watching us try to figure out now, how do we effectively parent adult children, and how are we going to effectively be grandparents? Like, we've got 2 generations ahead of us. My parents, my mom's mom, and my dad's mom, who, it's like that, those smiles are going down the line. But and no, we all need help, right?
Yes.
It's like, I call my parents or my grandparents when I'm trying to encourage my children in an area with my grandchildren, and then they laugh because they remember having that conversation with me.
It goes full circle.
It does. It goes full circle.
So I would love to pivot a little bit and hear about your journey now, like what you're doing now as a speaker. Tell me about that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for asking. So my journey now as a speaker, as I said, I am a minister of the gospel. So I do spend quite a bit of time teaching to different women's group. And I've been blessed because of my husband's service, and we've lived in multiple different countries, that I now, because we still have those connections, I'm able to go into different parts of Africa, whether it's Kenya or South Africa, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria, to be able to teach and preach in Europe, in the UK, Germany, and also in Belgium, and different places that we can go, or the Czech Republic. And that's been a blessing to me, speaking to different women's groups about, biblical principles as it relates to entrepreneurship, what did the Bible really mean about the Proverb 31 woman? Who was she? She was this badass entrepreneur. That's who she was, truly. This is what these things really mean, and have great fun doing that, teaching biblical principles about money and just, parenting, just so many different things, leadership roles, that, the Lord didn't create us to be in this less than a subservient position. He actually created us to be equal, and we are badass. And that's, if you want a poster woman for, well, show me that in the Bible because I don't believe you. Well, just read Proverbs 31 and let me know what you think about it. Read it in any version and let me know what you think about her. Also, as a John Maxwell speaker and coach, certified speaker and coach, I've been blessed as well to be able to facilitate workshops for some of our local businesses. We're real estate investors, and so I have relationship with a lot of the brokers, and I'm able to come in and do a lot of their monthly trainings with their staff, whether it's their actual employees and their realtors, with them, teaching them different things from the principles, whether it is some of John Maxwell's 21 irrefutable laws of leadership principles, or one of the most favorite ones that everyone really likes is the 15 invaluable laws of growth. Like, that is the one that I'm most sought after, because it's a powerful, powerful tool that when you grasp that, their teams elevate. Their teams actually elevate. It deals with personal development. It deals with communication and active listening, and all of those things working together creates one great salesman, and they watch their profits, go through the roof with that. So those are just some of the things that we're that I'm doing at the moment. Other than my podcast, I'm having fun with my podcast, LaQuita's Toolbox. I interview mostly women. I do have some men sometimes, but mostly women, sharing our stories and our journeys on our road to success in personal development and entrepreneurial growth. So I'm just having fun right now, doing the things that I love to do.
Yes. What is it that led you to start traveling to different countries to speak and coach?
It was an accident.
Nice.
It was not on purpose. It was not on purpose. We were with the first international speaking engagement that I had was it really wasn't on purpose. We had just moved to the UK. We joined a new church, and we were one of two American families there at the time. And it was February. Well, it was end of January. Long story short, having some conversations, some of the things that we had done prior to in small group was we would be able to host gatherings for married couples, because we were this married couple with this huge number of kids. So in that, having a conversation with the pastors about the things that we used to do, it was the time for their annual marriage conference. So they were like, okay, you want to speak at our conference? We need you guys to teach a class. So we're like, okay. And it just grew from there. From that, okay, it was like, oh, wait, y'all want us to do that again? Okay. I don't even know what I'm doing here, but okay. And it really grew from there too, because people from other churches came, and we found ourselves teaching on marriage and leadership. And like I said, one big accident. It was one big accident.
And at that point, did you have any public speaking experience?
No. And we were like Sunday school teachers and stuff, but we know these people.
Right.
So we knew them. Well, my husband, let me take that back. My husband had tons of public speaking experience. He's an intelligence analyst. So his whole job every day was to stand and brief people who he probably didn't know all over the world about what bad person was doing what bad thing and what we need to be doing as a nation to counteract that. Like, he did it all day, every day. Me? No, not at all.
So I know we're winding down here, but I want to ask you, how did you push past that? Maybe the imposter syndrome, or if you haven't done it before, how did you push past that to get yourself to do the first speech?
Well, I'm so glad you said that. So honestly, the first time it was, oh, well, we're just gonna get up here and do it. And then because it was set up to where me and my husband were standing at the podium at the same time. And so we had designed it to where we would bounce off of each other having a conversation, because that's what we were comfortable with. That's what we were used to doing in small group settings. So that's what we did. And it really didn't. And because we were talking about something we were familiar with, it was a little bit easier having him to focus on instead of all of these people that I had no idea who they were. And the more we did it, the easier it became. But shaking the imposter syndrome, that took a while. It took a while because it would be like, okay, I know I have this to do. I'm going to, and it caused me to over prepare, overthink. I'd be spazzing out in need of an inhaler every single time I had to speak, because I am totally freaked out, because I felt like I did not deserve to be there. Why am I here? Because I didn't have the education. I didn't have all of these things that, because at that point when we first started, I had not finished college yet. I was still going to school online. I had tons of experience being a wife, but no education. So all of these things were coming into my head of what are they going to think about? And it took a long time. I had to first figure out what the problem was. Like, I had no idea what imposter syndrome was. And when I figured out what it was, well, now how do I deal with that? Because inside of me, I was in agreement with it. Like, these are not lies. These are truth. Like, I'm not believing a lie. This is truth. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. How do I measure up? And these speakers are coming on, Dr. So-and-so, and, or somebody with a master's degree or 2 master's degree. And, oh, here I am. What am I going to contribute? Well, the truth is, the fact that you're there, you deserve to be there. And they have nothing greater in them than what you have in you, no matter what type of stage that I was presented with or given the opportunity to be on. It doesn't matter, because what's in me is what got me there. The knowledge that I possess, the wisdom that I have, the tools that I have to share, that got me there. It didn't matter. They went to a university and got their school, their knowledge. Life gave me mine. Both of them are relevant. One isn't greater than the other. So it's something that I actually have to continuously speak to myself. Last year, I was given the honor of an honorary doctorate, and I almost didn't show up. I almost didn't show up to get it. And my husband was like, what is wrong with you? Because imposter syndrome was telling me I didn't deserve it. Like, what are you doing here? Or this is just a giveaway. You didn't even earn it. These other friends and people earned theirs. Why are you getting this? Oh, you just, you don't, like, so many negative things. I will say this: if you are one that suffers with imposter syndrome like I do, it's one of those things that you have to actively work against. You have to actively, I prefer saying declarations than speaking affirmations, because I can speak affirmations all day long and won't believe it, and it has no impact. But I declare something because I believe in it. Like our Declaration of Independence, it's a declaration because it is what is. It's the truth. It's the law of the land. It's living and breathing document. It is, that's what a declaration is. I believe that. I own that. And it is what it is. So I make declarations to myself continuously, and I walk in those declarations.
So is a declaration like something that you're writing out? Is it a sentence? Is it long?
Both, all that. So a declaration, it could be something similar to an affirmation, but in my mind's eye, when I declare it, it's already what I am right now. I believe that I will say it because I believe that it is who I am. The situation is what I say that it is. Doesn't matter what's actually going on. That declaration is something that I embody, if I can say it like that. Like I embody that right now. It goes back to my speech. It goes back to my mindset. I have to believe it in order to declare it.
So good. I love what you're saying, and I really appreciate the fact that you shared like about a year ago and you almost didn't go and accept the award, because people see La'Quita today and they're like, she's a badass, she has it going on, but they don't see all the hardships along the way or like the behind the scenes. So it's important to say like, okay, yeah, you did it, but you pushed past it. Maybe I can too. So I appreciate that you shared that.
Yeah. Oh man, no problem. It's because as as badasses, as women, we go through stuff every day. We wake up and there's an issue, but we also wake up and we're wonderful. What are we going to choose to believe in? If I wake up and I focus on the fact that I'm wonderful, it'll equip me to be able to deal with this issue, or to just let the issue burn. One of the things that I tell my clients, things that are outside of our control, whether I'm worried about it or not, will not change anything. It won't change a thing other than my blood pressure. And that's not good at all. So if you can't fix it, let it burn. What's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? I mean, even in a dire situation like LaQuita, my house is about to get repossessed. That is hard, ladies and gentlemen. I have lost a home and caused my family to be homeless. No joke. Really did that. That was my gift to my husband after he came back from fighting in Iraq the first time. He came back to not having a home. That was not a wonderful experience. However, that passed away. Like that moment in time was not greater than me. It was not greater than our family. We stayed homeless, not even a complete week. That's still a long time though to be homeless. And we moved into something that was better than what we lost. And when we regained, we went into an essential, what would be considered a rental property after we lost our home. And then when we did repurchase, it was a multifamily home instead of a single family home. Like there is nothing that we have in this natural life that we cannot get again except for time. Money can be lost. Money can be remade. Cars can be lost. A better car can be purchased. It's all in our perspective. Let it burn. Let it burn. One of the things I tell my clients is when something is burning, imagine it's like a farmer's field. Farmers actually burn their fields in rotations. Why? Because when the new life grows back, that which grows back is so much better than the previous crop. That burning away of that field, it takes out every bad residue, it takes out every disease, and it opens up the earth to regenerate and replenish the minerals that it needs so that we can continue to get amazing harvests off that land. Except for I'm not talking about the land, I'm talking about you. Whatever we lose, and the Lord has allowed us to lose it, that's because it's something so much greater that's going to come and to birth out of you than that thing that you lost. We just have to be willing and okay with losing it. Not saying it won't hurt, not saying you're not going to miss it. All of that's real. You will do all of that, but anticipate the greater from any loss that you might have.
So good. So let's end with a tip to encourage women who are in the arena fighting for the life that they want.
All right. So if you are in that arena and you're fighting for the life that you want, know this, sis. When we are defining success for me goes like this. It is when we are redefining, if you will, as we're walking through this journey, that definition of success will change for you, and that is okay. It is absolutely necessary for us to continue in our journey to refine and redefine our definitions of success as we're growing. That definition must grow. It must shift as we're shifting and growing. So don't fight the change. Embrace it, and let your definition of success grow as you grow.
LaQuita, thank you so much. You've been a total badass, and I've enjoyed hearing your story.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun having this conversation with you guys.
Oh, and how can we connect with you?
So my children tell me I'm Googleable. So if you just Google my name, LaQuita Monley, all things LaQuita Monley will come up. I'm most active on LinkedIn. So, and I do run my own social media. You can connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can also connect with me at my website at www.laquitamonley.com.
With that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.